good evening, depending on the moment you're working on this tutorial. Today we're going to talk about the past activities or past actions. We're going to ask questions, we're going to answer questions. But let's begin by reviewing what we said when we talked about free time activities. Do you remember? We asked, what do you do in your free time? I go to the gym, listen to music, or watch videos on YouTube. Does Mary play a sport? No, she doesn't. She only plays a musical instrument. Then, when we were in the presence of the persons I, you, we, you all, they, in statements, we use the infinitive form of the verbs. And then, for questions, we use the auxiliary do and the verb in its infinitive form, and then for answers or negative answers we use the auxiliary don't. Then in the presence of he, she, it, we added an s to the verb in statements, positive statements, and then for questions we used does and then the verb in its infinitive form, right? For the negative, we use doesn't. But now, if we talk about past actions, we say, what did you do last weekend? I went to the gym, listened to music, and watched videos on YouTube. As we can see, we have the verb went in its past form, and we say that it is an irregular verb because it changes greatly from its form in infinitive. Then we have listened and watched are regular verbs because we only add ed. Did Steve play a sport last weekend? No, he didn't. Why didn't you all go to our party? We didn't go because we were very tired. We're sorry. Let's see some examples with WH questions. This is the formula. We say question word. The auxiliary did instead of do or does. The person, any person. The action in the infinitive and the rest of the idea. So here we have, for the question word, what, where, what time, how much, how many, why. The auxiliary verb did. For all the persons, we use did. There's no distinction between do, does. Now it's did for every person. The action in the infinitive and the rest of the idea. So we say, what did Julia do last weekend? She went out for dinner. So we say that in the question, the verb is in its infinitive form. But in the answer, the verb is in its past form. Do, alright, we use a verb in infinitive because we are in the presence of did. And then when we answer, we use a past form. Now then another example. Where did she eat out last weekend? She ate out at a fancy restaurant. Again, see the form of the main verb in the question. The verb is in its infinitive form, eat out. And then we say ate out. The verb is in its past form. So when did is present, the verb is in its infinitive form. Another example. When did you visit your friends? I visited my friends on Friday. Again, the verb visit is in its infinitive form in the question because did is present, and then we conjugate it in the answer in its past form. Now a question with who with. Who did you visit your friends with? I visited my friends by myself, alone. Again, visit in its infinitive form, visited in its past form. Now let's see a question with what time. What time did Sarah go to the art gallery? She went to the art gallery at around 10 p.m. Then, to ask yes-no questions to confirm information, we're going to use this formula. The auxiliary verb did, any person, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, the action in its infinitive form, and the rest of the idea. So, for example, we say, did Glenn swim in the sea? No, he didn't. Did Glenn eat fish and chips? Yes, he did. So as we can see, we have the auxiliary verb did, the verb in its infinitive form. Then, when we talk about past actions, when we are in the presence of the auxiliary verb did, the main verb is in its infinitive form. This is in questions and negative answers. Where did John go last weekend? Did Julia go to the cinema last weekend? Glenn didn't swim in the sea. Julia didn't stay out late last weekend. In affirmative ideas, the main verb is conjugated. It is in its past form. If it is a regular verb, it's going to be watched, listened, started. It's going to add ed. Or it may be irregular. From go, we go to went, eat, ate, come, came. Some examples: I went shopping last weekend. My boyfriend and I watched a movie. Glenn went cycling with his girlfriend. Julia ate a curry and rice last weekend. So, as we can see, these are affirmative ideas, and these are questions and negative ideas. Now let's see. We use the same verb forms with all the persons, with all the pronouns. For positive statements, we say I, you, we, they, he, she, it played tennis yesterday. She, they spent 2 hours in the supermarket on Sunday afternoon. We use it with negative statements. I, you, we didn't play tennis yesterday. She, they, I, we, you didn't spend 2 hours in the supermarket on Sunday afternoon. Pay attention to the verb forms. When the auxiliary verb is present, play is in its infinitive form. The verb is in its infinitive form. The same here. Look at the same example in a positive statement, right? The verb is in its past form. And now for questions. Did you, she, we play tennis yesterday? Yes, we did. No, we didn't. How long did she spend at the store on Sunday afternoon? She spent 2 hours. The only verb that changes in its forms is the verb to be. Now you need to go on practicing the past tense so as to talk about your past actions in class. Thank you for listening. See you.